Now today is a special day. Today is the full moon day of the Chinese 9th moon. So it is what's called Maraṇa day, invitation day. It's the day before the break of the rains retreat. Today is the last day of the 3 months rains retreat, but the monks have to still stay one more night in the monastery. So tomorrow the rains retreat is over. Today is a special day in the sense that the younger monks, they go and visit the older monks in the monastery to pay respects and invite them to counsel, to give advice. Should they have seen any misgivings, any faults or lapses, they would advise the younger monks to practice the Dhamma, in other words. So it's a very festive day in that sense, a holy day. Then tomorrow, according to Buddhist teachings, the Buddha comes down from Tawatingsa, returns back to earth, because once he spent 3 months rains retreat there. So this is a very big festival in Myanmar especially, although not so much in Thailand. They do have this festival, especially in the temple where I live, in a monastery in Wat Saket. Because in Wat Saket in Bangkok, there is this what's called the Gold Mountain. There is a man-made hill, it's quite high. There is a big stupa on the top with Buddha relics from Sri Lanka. And what we'll do is the monks of the temple will go up to this mountain. Once a year they'll go up to this artificial mountain where it's a big stupa actually. And then there'll be lots of people coming to offer alms tomorrow. No? And then these monks will come down. That represents the Buddha coming down from Tawatingsa. And then all these people offer alms. Okay. In Thailand, they also say that's the day when the Buddha revealed heaven and earth to the people. I mean, this teaching was given such a way that the multitude that assembled is able to see heaven and earth and the hells all at the same time. So they have this vision, in other words, of existence. So these are all very beautiful traditional stories reminding the Buddhist communities of their practice, the meaning of the Buddha's life, and so on. Of course, for us, it's a very wonderful day to study the Sutta. Today we go on to SD 48.6. It's called the Aṭṭhaka Maraṇa Sati, Sutta number 2. This is the second discourse with 8 things in it. Aṭṭhaka, 8 things. Maraṇa Sati is Mindfulness of Death. It is from A 8.74, the book of 8, Sutta 74. Now this is a reflection on urgency of practice, not to waste time. Now is the time, okay? And there's also a kind of a teaching based on the early Indian idea of medicine, right? So we need to have a bit of understanding of early Indian medicine. So I'll give a bit of introduction here to the nature of early Indian medicine. Early Indian medicine is, interestingly, Buddhist monastic medicine. Now you may wonder why is medicine so important among the Buddhist monks in the Buddha's time? The reason is quite simple. Those early years, the monks live alone in the forest. So if they have to fall sick or they get stung by, say, a scorpion or centipede or a snake even, they should know how to take care of themselves. So there's even a chapter, there is even a book on medicines, how monks can make their own medicines. And of course there are many rules the monks have to observe. They cannot pluck leaves and so on, so they have to use things which are available. One of the commonest medicine that the monk would use is cow's urine. I was amused thinking this person I don't think it's the monk. Probably it's the monk student. Will go to the cow and wait for the cow, or maybe they have a way of making the cow pee, I suppose, and then they collect cow's urine, and then they seal it in a jar. See, okay. You don't use it right away. You can't, okay, because it doesn't work that way. You keep it in a jar, then you seal it and bury it in the ground first. Now I do not know the details, how long you should bury it and so on. But the whole idea is, you put it in the ground, it's warm, and this urine will ferment. And basically, in modern terms, you get ammonia, right? So they use this medicine for quite a few things. Unfortunately, we are so fortunate nowadays, even monks, you have modern medicine, we forget all these basic things. But it's there in the Buddhist texts. Now, in the Buddha's time, the medicine is based on the elements, the 4 elements, earth, water, fire, wind. But when it comes to health, only the 3 elements are used: fire, wind, fire, and water. So these are the 3 which are also adopted by the Ayurvedic, later Indian traditional medicine. So here they use 3 because the earth element is kind of like universal. All the aspects of our health is found in the earth element. Our body is the earth. And it depends on the balance between wind, water, and heat and fire. Okay? For example, if you have too much heat, then you get fever, right? If too much water, then you get some other kind of problem, maybe kidney problem, whatever. And then there is wind problem, you get rheumatism, for example. So you must be a balance among these elements. Of course, too much earth element means someone's overweight. That also can be considered. But usually the earth will have an aggregate, they combine all these different elements. So this was adopted into the Ayurvedic system. They call it the 3 dosha. 3 dosha means the 3 faults, okay? So when someone is sick, it'll be one of these elements. But they call it, it's found in the Sutta here. If you look on page 141, the causes of death, cause in the middle, brackets 4, 5, 6. Can you see that? My bile might act up. My phlegm might act up. Sharp winds might act up, right? So there is bile, phlegm, wind. So these are the 3 faults that causes sickness. Now all these went to China, so then the Chinese also used this plus what they already knew. So Chinese medicine became even more systematic. So you have here in the Sutta, the monk is reminded, you live alone in the forest, you can never know. Sometimes the bile may act up, and then we suffer as a result. Okay. Or sometimes it could be the phlegm, or sometimes the winds. So the bile, according to then in the West also they have the 4 humors. So they have 2 kinds of bile: yellow bile, black bile, and then phlegm, blood. Okay. So this can make very interesting reading if you like all these things. So you can. There's 2 Japanese scholars actually, Endo and Nakamura, they've written a paper on this in 1995. You can look up in the footnote later on if you want. Okay. So let's look at this sutta. Aṭṭhaka Maraṇa Sati Sutta 2. The second 8th discourse on the mindfulness of death, A8.74. At one time, the Blessed One was staying in the brick house at Nadika or Nyatika. There, the Blessed One addressed the monks. Bhikshus, Bhante, the monks replied to the Blessed One in assent. Bhikshus, the mindfulness of death, when cultivated, grown, is of great fruit, great benefit, plunging into nirvana, ending in nirvana. Wow, notice here, the Buddha is saying you just need to meditate on death, and it can bring you awakening. Of course, the thing is, how is this done and who does it? Okay, this is a special meditation for monks. It's not easy for lay people to do, although we can if we want to, but you need proper instructions. Right? Of course, where death comes, very often we have no choice but to practice it. For example, when someone in the family passes away, right? So we have to reflect on this moment, right? So it's good to look at the person who has passed away. Look carefully. Look at the features of the person. How different is this person now and this person when he was alive, especially when we know the person ourselves. So when you study a dead body, you find there's so many different features compared to the living, right? The dead body looks pale. When you touch, it feels cold, right? And then you find there's no breath and so on. So you just reflect, you begin to wonder, you say, now we are breathing, we are warm, and we can move, But this body is like a log, it's just there. So it's rather strange, right? Rather sad, of course. So there must be something more than just a body, right? So this is where religion has speculated, people have speculated, what is it, that makes this body so alive? Of course, in Buddhism we say it's the consciousness, right? So of all the religions, Buddhism has no quarrel with medicine, okay? In medicine, in science, we never talk about soul or anything else, but yes, consciousness, we do talk about it, right? So we know more today about consciousness, we understand more about the nature of the mind and so on. We also understand a little bit more about death. So the thing about death is that we do not know when exactly it will come. Of course, medical science can tell you, all right, you have 1 more year, 3 more months, and so on. But then again, many people have proven the doctors wrong by changing their diet, by meditating, and so on. I mean, recently, someone went for a medical checkup, and you got all this, what they call, those little wires, pasted all over, and then they watch the heart rate, right? And there is announcement that this PA system or this voice will say, okay, now you breathe in, breathe out, whatever, Now sometimes when you have to test your heart, especially in meditation, they will seek your permission, they will play some sound, very loud, bang, like a gun, and they want to see your response, right? So if you are calm, right, you find all this noise, sudden noise will not startle you. This is called the startle effect, right? Normally, normal humans, we have startle effect. For example, if suddenly someone bang the door, we will startle, we will jump, so as we say. But if you're a calm meditator, you won't. There's no startle effect. So this is what the scientists were shocked, that meditators do not have the startle effect. How is it that they could become calm? The answer is simply, if you have control of your mind, you can be calm. You won't have the startle effect. In other words, you are almost like you are ready. Because the startle effect is a biological reflex. For example, I have this very beautiful little tabby cat. She's very nice, but she's very timid. A sudden noise will jump. Or don't talk about lightning and thunder. Okay, both our cats will run and hide. You can't find them when there's thunder and lightning. They're terrified. So they have the startle effect helps them to survive danger. Right? So it's the animal aspect in us, in other words. So when you are good in meditation, you bring your mind to a higher level. You refine your mind. You strengthen your mind, in other words. So when you look at death, you're also strengthening your mind. Not to fear it, but not to love it either, right? So just like what Sariputta said, he said, I do not fear death, nor do I love it. I I just wait for it like a worker waiting for his wages. So he takes it naturally. So when you look at this dead body, you just say, well, as I am, so was this body. As this body is, so I will be, right? So you reflect that way. Then you find some thoughts will come to your mind, right? Now let me share with you my own near-death experience. This is not about seeing a dead body, but this is about nearly dying, okay? I have 3 or 4 near-death experiences. I've got to tell you before I start forgetting them already. Of course, some of the stories I've told many times, so some of you who've been watching my tapes will say, oh no, he's repeating himself. It's okay, this is a nice story. So, when I was a teenager, I used to climb this mountain, and I was trying to catch this butterfly. I was not a Buddhist yet then, because I was catching this butterfly, which flies in quite high in the air, so I need a telescopic net to catch it. I have to crane my neck up like that, run up to it to catch it. I managed to catch one. It's a butterfly moth, so it's got the characteristic of both a moth and a butterfly. But then after the first one, I said, the second one is very hard to catch. I said, okay, I think I'm going to stop running. This is tiring. And so I just stopped. Okay. Then when I looked in front of me, I saw everywhere there was nothing but clouds in front of me. There was no land, no trees, just clouds all the way, Of course, it's very beautiful, I said, wow, look at that. Then I say, let me see. Now I begin to forget the details. I think, okay, let me retell this part of it. So I was looking at the sky. I said, wow, look at this, all sky, open sky, all right? Then I said, wow, I'm really high up, because I'm in Gunung Ledang, the highest hill near to Singapore in Johor, outside Aṭṭhaka. So I saw this open sky. I said, wow, beautiful sky. Then I said, let's look at the trees, okay? So I looked down, but there were no trees at all. When I looked down, I saw nothing but clouds. And the clouds that day were as far as the eye can see. That is what surprised me. You don't normally get that kind of cloud bang, we call it. The clouds are all as far as the eye can see. Then I told myself, where are the trees? There are no trees at all. Then suddenly, I had this funny feeling. Normally you have the trees down there and the clouds up there. Now you have instead of the trees, you have the clouds. So suddenly I felt as if my world has been turned upside down. Instead of the clouds up there, the clouds are down there. I said, wow, what's going on here? It happened very fast, Then I looked very carefully. I said, where are the trees? And I looked down, and I looked at my feet. And I saw that I was standing right at the edge of a cliff. And the cliff is about 100-foot drop. If I take one more step, just one more step, I won't be here teaching you today. And people have been known to fall there, I was told. Okay? So that was one of my near-death experiences. Then I also remember standing there for a while, I did not move. I said, wow. Okay? What am I doing with my life? I could, one step I'd be gone. What am I doing with my life? Catching butterflies? What's all this? You can live your life catching butterflies. And that's the time I remember I decided, I think I should be a monk, We find out more about life. So it just came like that very fast. All right? So this is what happens when you see death face to face. But of course, you see too much of this is not good. Like in war, you see people die, you see people your close friends getting shot. It's terrible, right? So you can't handle it. It's not easy to handle. So in Buddhism, we are taught how to deal with this. Where the practitioner, meditator is always told when you do we do death meditation, you must also do loving kindness practice. Right? You must balance up your practice. Okay. So if you do this kind of practice, then you learn to let go of the world. You begin to see the world as it is, and you're not caught up with it, because everything changes. No point collecting things, and in other words, you must know how to live. The Buddha doesn't say, oh, give up everything, become a monk. He didn't say that. He says that if you choose, there is this alternative life of renunciation. But if you live as a layman, you should be happy, responsible as a father, mother, husband, wife, children. You have your tasks, your duties. So the important thing is to live happily. How to truly live happily, because we know everything is impermanent. Now then the Buddha goes on to teach about the mindfulness of death. Okay, so you have this is the night reflection. Next page, 4, section 4. How bhikshus is the mindfulness of death, when cultivated, grown of great fruit, great benefit, plunging into nirvana, ending in nirvana. Here bhikshus, when the day has ended and night has fallen, a monk reflects thus: many are the causes of or conditions for my death. A snake could sting me, or a scorpion could sting me, or a centipede could sting me. Right, so here these are, they can be fatal, sometimes, especially you get a big scorpion. I was once stung by a baby scorpion, very small scorpion, so it was very painful, really like burning pain, but luckily I did not. It was not really bad, This little baby scorpion was in a rag. I did not know the scorpion was in the rag. I took the rag, and then suddenly there was a really sharp sting, and it burns. And at once let it go, and there was this baby, very small scorpion there. Now, if you're a big one, that's the end of it. So you can say that's another near-death experience. You must collect all these stories, So, a snake, poisonous snake. There's so many poisonous snakes in India. And you live in the forest monasteries, there are no lights at night, so you have to bring a torchlight. If you don't have a torchlight, you better have a stick. Normally what the monks do is, there are rules to live in the forest. The forests generally are very safe, safer than, in fact, the city, because the animals won't attack you unless they are really hungry, and usually they won't come near human habitats. The snakes won't come to you. The snakes are very scared of humans, they run away. So you carry a stick and you just kind of hit against the plants, you make the sounds. These snakes, they can't hear, but they can sense vibration. So they'll go away, okay? So then you are safe. Of course, you have to look where you're going also, right? And I remember I was in Kedah, in the north of Malaysia. There was this monk friend I had who has a forest monastery, and it's a very lonely road, and the road gets very, very warm in the day. Then when the sun is setting, the day is and the forest is cool, by the way, you see snakes on the road. The snakes come out and just sit on the road like sunbathing, because the road is warm. Snakes, their body is such that they will adjust the temperature to the outside. So you see the snakes there on the road. Okay? We have to be very careful. So the snake could sting us in the forest. A scorpion could sting us, a big scorpion. And in the forest now they have giant scorpions. Even ants, huge ants, And centipedes, very big ones. They could sting the monks. So you reflect, say, well, I'm not careful, these things can happen. So that would be the death of me. This would be an obstacle for me, right? So if I were to die suddenly and I'm not awakened, it would not be helpful, all right? So what's the meaning of this? This means my life is precious. I must use my life to calm my mind, to awaken. And then next 6, I might stumble or fall, right? Okay, again, stumbling or falling might not be so serious. There was a story where a monk fell. He came out of his kuti and he fell down. But he didn't give up. He got up and he went back to meditation. My food might not agree with me. Right? Sometimes, especially for monks, they take too much, too little, or wrong food. Sometimes they don't have a choice of the food because they go on alms round. So they might suffer because of the food. My bile might act up. Okay, here you come. So this is ancient Indian medicine. Certain parts of your body may not function well. Now, bile comes from the bile. Actually, it is stored in the bile duct, but it comes from the liver. Okay? And you need bile to help you digest fat and food and so on. Okay? So that might not work properly. Or you might have problem with the phlegm. Phlegm it comes usually from your throat, but here phlegm refers to coldness in your body. Or sharp winds in me might act up, right? Rheumatism or pains with winds. Humans might attack me, especially bandits and so on. Non-humans might attack me. Okay, usually non-humans we translate as spirits and ghosts. But if you look at the list here, notice what's not mentioned. Wild animals is not mentioned. Okay, so you can take non-humans as including wild animals, if you like. No? Because we nowadays know that there are no such thing as ghosts. So we think, all right, maybe we should go into the forest and find out. Eh? All right, so for each of this monk reflects, if I should die in any of these 8 ways, it will not be good because I'm not attained any level yet. So let me try hard first. You know? So what is the message here in this first part? It is the urgency of life. Don't wait. No? Right away, you have a chance, practice it. You know, recently a friend of mine, the wife was very sick, a young wife, a young couple actually. They have 2 children. So the wife had cancer for nearly 10 years. And this is a very wonderful man, wonderful husband. He's taking care of her very patiently. And then finally this woman dies of cancer after a relapse after about nearly 10 years. So this friend of mine asked, "Can you come and give a talk?" You know? So I thought it was talk for someone else, you know. But anyway, it was for the wife. And I was so concerned. I said, this poor man, he might be devastated. I hope he can handle it. But when I met him, I was quite happy to see actually he smiled at me. You know, I mean, usually you wouldn't smile at people in the funeral. You know, when you see me, he smiled. You know, so it's normal. He's always smiling. You know, so he has not changed. He's happy. So that really relieved me. I felt that wow, you know, he's okay. He didn't take it badly, because all the while he knew his wife was dying because she had this very bad cancer, a rare kind of cancer. So he was kind of prepared. He was doing his best to make her comfortable and so on. And now she is gone. Okay? Of course, we cannot assume just because people smile, people are calm means they're all right. I mean, if they lose someone who's so loving, they might one day wake up in the night and say, "Oh, you know, what has happened to her?" and start crying. So there'll be a time when this sorrow will come. And we've got to be ready to be with them, to be there when they feel that way. Okay? But my point in telling this story is that this person is practicing all the time. And for all you know, he'll be listening to this recording because he's one of those people who keep listening. He's very happy to listen to this series of talks on death because he says it helps him to understand the nature of death and to cope with it. So there you are. This is the whole idea of the Buddha teaching, to help us cope with life, to help us see the urgency of practicing what is right for us, something that makes us human and something that makes us more than human. So here, there is a self-review in the next section, section 7, page 141. Section 7, Bhikshus, it should be reflected by this monk thus. Are there in me bad, unwholesome states that are unabandoned, that should be obstacle? Should I die in the night? Okay, so this is where we reflect occasionally, once a week, once in a fortnight. Like today is a wonderful, good day today, full moon day. It's a day of reflection. How did I fare the last week, last 2 weeks, last month? Did I show my anger? Did I show lust? Did I show hatred, fear? Okay, that's the first one, statement of the truth. Then number 2 is, why did I do it? Why did I do it, right? Something happened, this happened and I reacted like that. You examine this, right? And then the third reflection is, how can I overcome this, right? So I overcome this by practicing loving kindness, or the next time I will not get upset when this happens. So you reflect that way. Section 8. If bhikshus, among reflecting in this way, knows thus, there are in me bad, unwholesome states that have not been abandoned, there will be an obstacle should I die in the night. Then bhikshus, that monk should work on the abandoning of just that bad, unwholesome state with extraordinary enthusiasm and effort and industry and great perseverance and relentlessness and mindfulness and clear comprehension. So these are all words for practicing meditation. Mindfulness, clear comprehension. You know what you're doing. Know your mind. Remove that negative feeling, the negative thought. So what is meant here is that we can do this and we should do this. Then the Buddha uses a parable to highlight, to remind us of this, the importance of this action. 10. Parable of the burning head. Bhikshus, just as one whose turban is ablaze, okay, turban is the headgear, okay, whose head is ablaze, is burning, would act with extraordinary enthusiasm and effort and industry and great perseverance and relentlessness and mindfulness and comprehension to put out the fire on that turban or that head. Even so, bhikshus, right, we should abandon all those negative thoughts, negative speech, negative action. We should correct whatever is wrong in us. Right? So here, in one word, it is urgency. We should make that effort. So I will not be angry the next time like that, okay? Or I will not have fear next time. I'll be more calm. Next is self-review on inner purification, section 11. If bhikshus, reflecting in this way, knows thus, there are no bad, unwholesome states in me that are unabandoned, that would be an obstacle should I die in the night. So it's okay, I examine, but I don't see any bad actions. Then bhikshus, he should dwell in that very zest and gladness, training night and day in wholesome states. Wholesome state, that means keep the mind happy, joyful, go on practicing. Okay? So that is reflection in the night, and that means after sunset you reflect. Now the day has come in the morning. Morning reflection, if you like, day reflection or morning reflection, it's the same thing, right? So we do this reflection once when the sun is setting and night has arrived, and one more time when the sun is arising, the day has started. Here, bhikshus, when night has ended and day has dawned, a monk reflects thus. Many other causes of my death the condition for my death. A snake could sting me, or a scorpion could sting me, or a centipede could sting me. That would be the death of me. This would be an obstacle for me. I might stumble or fall. My food might not agree with me, or my bile might act up, or my phlegm might act up. Sharp winds in me might act up. Humans might attack me. Non-humans might attack me. That would be the death of me, or this would be an obstacle for me. So basically the meaning is, you want to do good, don't wait. Do it right away. Alright? Bhikshus, it should be reflected by this mangas. Are there in me any bad, unwholesome states that are unabandoned that would be an obstacle for me in the day? Right? So daytime, reflect. Do I have any negative thoughts? If there are, then you got to act on it right away. Let me overcome this. Okay? So in other words, you watch yourself. In the moment say anger arises, you say, okay, this is anger, I'm letting go of it, like that. If not, then you can live happily, go on with your practice. In other words, okay? So the rest of the section are all the same. So that this teaching is about urgency. Go on right away, notice what's wrong, accept it. Don't pretend it's not happening, accept it, and then put in the opposite positive quality and go on from there, build up your strength. So this is the reflection on death number 2, the Maraṇa Sati Sutta 2.